What does Marius drive? It's a question I'm asked all the time. A Nissan, a 350Z in fact, that I've had for just on 10 years. But Nissan is a brand I've always found very fascinating because they are able to produce these unbelievable aspirational halo products like the GTR. And then they also bring the world the Tida. The 5th generation Micra is now in South Africa. The question is, where does it fit in? So as you can see, Nissan have brought us to Cape Town for the launch of the Micra, a city that is immediately recognizable because of its most famous landmark, Table Mountain. It's there, I promise. Okay, listen, we're not going to complain about the rain. Cape Town needs it, but it creates a bit of havoc for us from a shooting perspective. Crazy the lengths we've got to go to do the all-new Nissan Micra some justice, filming in a busy car park, so excuse all the noise and everything going on. Totally different from a looks perspective. This isn't just a subtle facelift, this is an extreme makeover, an all-new car. In actual fact, the Micra is built in the exact same plant in France as a super popular Renault Clio. It's even on the same wheelbase, but the dimensions ever so slightly different. The Clio is a little bit longer overall length, and the wheelbase a little bit longer too, but the Micra sits a bit higher and is a little bit wider. But from a styling perspective, what I love is that front end is actually very striking, very sporty. You'll notice some little blue detailing and little vinyl wraps. The whole thing with the Micra, again, it's well spec'd, but they want to give you personalization options. So those are the sort of things that you could add to give your Micra your unique taste. The dynamic proportions of the hatchback that Nissan are raving about are clearly visible when you view it like this in profile. They also talk about the character lines, and they're clearly visible, running from the front of the car all the way to the rear. I think the Japanese seem to be quite hell-bent on this, and I just worry about possibly down the line, those type of features do date a car quite significantly. What seems to be a bit of a trend at the moment in the B segment is to create this floating roof scenario where they actually black out the B and the C pillar. They've done it on the Micra, as well as hidden the rear door handles in that C pillar. But I particularly love the detailing when you get to the back of the car. Look at how wide and purposeful the stance is. I really like it. Nissan talks about their boomerang-inspired tail lights. For me, I see a lot of the Duke in that, and that's really cool. They've also got an integrated roof spoiler, which is standard across the range. The rear of this car is very squared up, and the lights actually sit a little bit forward of it. I love that. That for me is probably the best feature. And in terms of boot, very respectable in the segment, 300 litres, and obviously with a 60-40 split on the rear seat, you can flip the seats forward. If you do, that's going to give you 1,000 litres. This is an important car for Nissan. We know how competitive the B segment is. They needed to come to the market with a strong product. And I think from a styling perspective, they've done it. They're going to turn heads. It's less polarizing and going to appeal to a lot more consumers out there. For Nissan, this has to be the jewel in their crown. But Nissan do have another jewel in their crown. Miss South Africa Tamarin Green, welcome.
Thank you.
Crazy 2 weeks.
Very busy, whole new world, but I'm adapting. You know, everyone tells you your world's gonna flip around, but you're not prepared until it happens.
Okay, what we want to ask you is a couple like quick fire questions, and then we are going to talk a bit about cars because it's a car show.
Okay, how serious is this?
Very.
Okay.
Our show is very serious. It's all about world peace. Now, okay, coffee or tea?
Tea.
Hamburger or pizza?
Pizza.
Brains or brawn?
Brains.
Rugby or soccer?
Rugby.
Province or Lions?
Province.
That's just because you're born in Paarl. I mean, those guys.
I have to support.
Okay, in terms of cars, manual or auto?
Manual.
Can you drive?
Definitely. I'm a great driver.
How many attempts did it take you to pass K53?
Passed the first time.
You know you're not allowed to lie, now that you miss South Africa.
No lies.
Look at the camera and say, I passed first
No
time.
lies, I passed first time.
Okay, so very cool. Part of winning the title, a lot of responsibility, but also some cool stuff.
Definitely.
So obviously the association with Nissan.
Yes.
Now you've got a nice new set of wheels. Tell us about your car.
It's amazing. It's the opposite of what I had. I had a tiny car, and I'm not going to mention what car it was, but now I've got this beautiful, powerful, big car, and I'm loving it.
Thanks so much for joining us on Nissan GT. Very cool. And you know the cool thing about it is it's not just about the beauty on the outside, she's also really beautiful on the inside. A lot like the Nissan Micra. a key focus for Nissan has been creating a really upmarket feel. And I think they've done that with the use of two-tone and soft touch materials, which come as standard across the entire range. They talk about a T-shaped gliding wing dashboard. Sounds all fancy. The entry-level Visio model comes with manual air conditioning and a Bluetooth MP3 audio system. It's got cruise control, auto headlights as standard as well. The minute you upgrade to the Ascenta or the Ascenta Plus, it then comes standard with a 7-inch color touchscreen, which is compatible, importantly, with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Nissan's driver assist display, a feature that we've seen in other of their products like the X-Trail, is also standard in the Ascenta and the Ascenta Plus. This 5-inch color display is controlled by the multifunction buttons found on your steering wheel. What is quite surprising though, even though the Micra range is exceptionally well specified across the entire range, it's just odd that you only get powered windows in the front. It's manual labor in the back. Now, our cameraman, you may not know, is actually sailor of the year. Jonathan is a hardened sailor, but today he's a wet rag. He reckons it's too cold out there. So enough about the looks, it's about how it feels. I'm going to do this on my own. Softy. Just kidding, Jono, it is terrible weather out there, but I am in the right car for these wet conditions because safety is not compromised on the new Micra. ABS is there as well as EBD, but for me significant is the vehicle stability control is standard across the entire range. 6 airbag standard again across the entire range, and that really puts it ahead of a lot of its competitors. Nissan are only bringing in the 900cc turbo petrol engine at launch. Apparently next year we can expect to get the 1-litre naturally aspirated engine in. All of the cars are operated with a 5-speed manual gearbox, so no auto. Potentially a bit of a problem because some of their competitors do offer you, the consumer, the option of an auto box. From a driving perspective, the little 900 turbo is very, very preppy and obviously incredibly frugal as well. A fun little car to drive actually. It's got a really sturdy steering wheel which has got height adjustment and reach, so I can really get into a sweet driving position. A few things that I do find quite interesting though, with all this level of specification, I would have liked to have things like at least park distance control, but from a visibility perspective it is quite easy to see your way around when you are driving. The one we drove today, which is the middle spec, is going to set you back just under 260. The top spec just over 270, and you can get into the all-new Micra for just over 230, so very competitively priced. The new Micra is spacious, it is well equipped, but happily it's also taken some design inspiration from Nissan's Halo models. We reckon they're onto a winner.